Okay guys, welcome back to Adventure Camping. Tactical Nut and Baby Glock here. And as promised, we are back with another installment of How to Train Your Child.
And we got donuts.
And we have donuts. Now this is a part 2 of knife skills. And today we're basically just going to cover a few cutting techniques that are easier for children to learn and are much safer for them to use.
We'll leave part 1 in the description just in case you guys haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, we'll definitely provide a link to the first one below. We apologize it's been so long, but the past 2 weeks has been from the mid-90s to 100 degrees outside every day. And something to remember as a parent trying to teach your child, or as an adult trying to teach any other child, know your weather. If it is extremely hot outside, your child is not going to want to be there. They're going to lose their patience very quickly. They're going to be very uncomfortable, more than likely very sweaty if it's really hot, and it's going to be harder for them to concentrate and to learn, and they're not going to enjoy it. So today it is really cool. It's like upper 70s, and it's not supposed to get that hot today. It's the first cool day we've had in the past couple of weeks, so we hadn't even been on a hike or anything yet. So, not a real one. We went to a park for a day.
That was fun.
Okay guys, well we got our stuff here on the deck. We're going to get set up and get ready, and we'll get right back to you. Okay guys, if you notice there's some debris here on the deck. We were starting to film, but we had some background noise, so we're going to do this part over again. Sorry about that. Take 2, I guess. Alright, now, first thing we're going to do is teach a few cutting techniques that are easy for children to learn. Keeps them safe, can be used as adults in survival situations if you need to, at least for the first cutting technique. Now what we're going to do, and if you notice, both have the same cutting tools. We both have more knives. We both safety first. We got our gloves on. Well, the first one is going to be, let me hold the stick real quick, is batoning the knife, the tip of the knife. We're using 1x4, but it's a technique where you're going to hammer the knife into the wood, blade facing away, and then taking a stick while bearing down on the knife itself, pulling the stick across the blade. Now we use this 2 reasons. One, for children so they don't have to move the knife at all. Very hard to cut yourself if the blade isn't moving.
And the chances are
far less. Right? We're trying to, maximize or minimize risk as much as possible. So we're going to hammer the knife, pull the whatever material it is that you need to have cut across the knife instead of the knife across the material. So go ahead, let's get your knife into the wood. And you can use a stick. This is a broom or mop handle or something like that. It's good for her size hand. Easy for her to use. Hold the stick closer to where you're hitting. There you go. More control. So as you can see, it's why I have hard knuckle gloves in case I missed. Unfortunately, they don't have those for kids. Alright, now what is probably going to be easiest for a child and a lot of adults is getting to one knee on the ground, one knee by there. Scoot more towards me so you'll have excuse me. Alright, now one thing that I did as she's starting to attempt this is that I shaved off some of the bark off of the stick, because you're just teaching the child to learn the technique and the motion. So making the stick a little smoother is going to make it easier for them to learn the cutting stroke. Because remember, you're not trying to teach them to survive right now. You're just trying to lay the groundwork for them to get new skills, for them to be able to do this in the future. And so it is really just getting some time in, just like I had shown before, different cutting techniques. They have to practice, just like adults have to practice. So if you're out camping, hiking, you're sitting down, you're taking a break, give them a stick and a knife and a pair of gloves, and let them practice some techniques. You can do this around the house. A few minutes a day.
If you have them, we can leave a link below, like where the gloves come from, or like a knife.
Yeah, I'll have to look up where the gloves came from, because kids' leather gloves can be pretty difficult to find. I've never seen a pair in the store. We had to get these online. And they were on back order, so that took a while. And remember, they're not going for any particular shape. They're not going for... There's no real goal in mind. It is getting the cutting stroke down. That is all you really need to do at first, is get them in the habit of using the knife, using it safely, and learning techniques that keep them safe. And this one, by far, is probably the safest because the blade is facing away and it doesn't move. As I said in the first video, if you need to take breaks, take a lot of breaks. Take as many as you need. There's no hurry. There's no rush. They don't have to learn this technique in a day. Do it over time. Do it as their patience level allows. But only you can determine that, and you have to know your child or whatever child you're teaching. As long as they're into it, let them go. If you see them starting to get frustrated and irritated, take a break. Alright, just try a few more with that, and then we'll do a couple of notches with a different cutting technique. But as you see here, she's already getting better. I mean, we did do this for a couple of minutes before we started filming again because we had the background noise. But this is a fairly easy one for them to pick up, so that's why it's one of those that I like to start with. As opposed, in the very first video, we showed some shaving techniques with it being braced on a log. I like that one, and this one where it's hammered into a board or a stump. Those are my two favorite to start with teaching.
I like feather sticking.
You like feather sticking? Yeah, that's a fun skill to learn on that one. Well, I guess this is still short enough for you. Alright, now the next technique, let me get on this side of you. It's called a cross chest draw. Okay, scoot over so the knife isn't close to you, please. Now this one, normally when you're holding a knife, you're holding it either your thumb along the spine or like a baseball grip or a hammer grip as they call it. This one, instead of the knife facing away from your wrist, you want it the other way, right? So what you're going to be doing, bracing the elbow and the arm to your chest, and then you're going to pull the knife across so that you can shave it. You know what you say? And you got to watch what they're doing as you're trying to teach them. But once again, you're doing this one because you don't want the knife moving. And once again, you're just trying to get them used to the technique. All you're going to do is just shave the stick a little bit. You can, as you get more used to it, you're going to pull your elbows back behind you. See what I'm doing? You could do it like that because it gives you a little more power. But you're really keeping the...
Ow.
But you see how the knife isn't moving?
It is a little.
Well, I mean, but I'm not using the knife to cut. I'm not using that arm to pull.
No.
I'm just pulling the stick. Okay? Now you have to remember, parents, guardian, teacher, whoever, whatever role you're filling right now teaching a child, you still have to remember that point of the knife is still up here facing them. So you still have to keep an eye on them while they're doing this. This isn't, risk-free, but they're not moving the knife much, or at all. They're just supposed to be shaving the stick.
You could shave it down to like a knife, kind of, and then you can use that.
Or like a spear point.
So you can use it to hunt.
Yep. Now, you're going to try it. And remember, like I said, this is just to get the motion down, and you have to watch them using the knife, making sure the knife isn't moving, that they're only moving the stick. That's the whole goal of this cutting technique. Okay, so you get right here. Oh, cool. Yeah. And so what I will do in the very beginning while she's doing this is hold her arm still for her so that I help develop that muscle memory to where she's not moving it herself. Why are you doing it left hand?
I'm a righty.
You're a righty. Alright, now bring it in here and pull the stick. And like I said in the first video, it's extremely helpful to guide their hands for them and assist them in some way until they get it down. Because once you develop the muscle memory, your body will just pretty much naturally do it on its own. Remember, you don't have to dig real deep. Just shave. There you go. You're trying to pull the knife. Remember, just pull the stick. And you don't even have to keep shaving off the bark. Just keep shaving in the same spot so you don't have to keep readjusting your grip or readjusting the stick. And in the very beginning, this is the time where it's definitely an advantage to not have any knife skills because you won't naturally do things incorrectly or you don't have to unlearn anything. Because if you're used to using a knife a lot, your first instinct is to push the knife. If you're not used to using a knife, you don't have any instincts or you're not having any habits yet. So it's a little easier to teach them how to keep that knife still so that they can use the material that you're cutting to move and not the blade. Alright, so like I said, with each one, just take a few minutes, just give them a little bit of practice. Now we're going to work on a couple of notches to teach them that are very easy and extremely useful around the campsite. The first one
is a V.
Going to be the V-nuts. That's exactly right.
I was guessing.
Now this one, I like to use the batoning method for children because they don't have to move the knife. Once again, you can use it this way as an adult or as a child. So what you're going to do first is sit your knife at an angle. Make sure your stick is braced. And tap it into the wood. And the same thing with the other side, but at your V angle. Now normally, it shouldn't take this many whacks, but the board is vibrating, so the stick is losing a little bit of the momentum, or the force out of it. But there you go. See, there you got a V. Now I want you to try one right beside it while I help you out. Remember, get whatever position is comfortable for you. You got to hold it with your left hand. Hold the knife with your left. There we go. Because remember, you got to use the stick with your right.
Oh, I forgot I had to hold it.
Now remember, always hold the stick where you have the most control. All right, sit up on your knees. As long as you sit flat, you're not going to have any leverage. Which is what you need the most. Up on those knees. And watch where you're hitting. Aim for right here. And if you have to change the position of your body to get a better angle at hitting it or where you're cutting, make sure you're doing it. You don't have to be stationary. And there we go. want to give it a good whack. Just remember, this is your aiming point is right here. Okay, now that you're in there a little bit, what you want to do is push that knife in to your groove, and then you're going to dig it out a little bit and do it from the other angle too. That's what you cut out. Okay, so you need to tap a little more. Now, typically the heavier your baton, the easier and faster you will dig into the wood, but you also have to use one that they can work with and that is light enough for them. You still got more to go. Remember, at an angle, and you want to keep this right here, just like that. Aim right here. And if you have to move your body, because you're hitting it at a kind of an odd angle. Hold on for, leave the knife right here. I've got it. Move over this way more. You need to angle yourself where you're most effective at hitting the blade and up on you. You're not going to have any power sitting flat like that. This is also where it's helpful if you have skateboard, biking knee pads or something like that. Hers have got too small, so we got to get some new ones. Keeps their knees comfortable so they'll stay in the position that you need. Well, hopefully, trying to see now. You need to try using just your wrist, and you may have to adjust your teaching style, their technique while they're doing it, in order, you know, to find what works best for them. But hold here. A little further away, because you want the stick to have leverage. If you're cutting a stick, you want to have good control over it where the stick doesn't move much. But here, you need that whacking. You need the force coming down of the stick. There we go. See? Once you have that extra force going down there, now you've got pretty good little V-notch.
Finally.
Alright, now V-notches are good for running cordage and keeping it from moving from one place to another on a stick. And we'll do one more notch. This one should be pretty easy.
I hope so.
This is used for hanging stuff or attaching, hanging two sticks together. But let me show you. What?
Why?
Why?
There's a letter Y.
Oh. Now this is different. This is almost like an L. So what you do is the first part of the notch, the knife is perfectly straight, pointing away from you. You want to go about a quarter way into the stick. Just straight down. Board collaborates. It's not hardly going to work.
Yeah, blame it on the board.
The next one is just like you were doing half of your V-notch. And you're gonna go into the direction of that straight point you just had. Okay, look at it. Scoot over a little bit so I can get a better angle.
Oh, no, son.
And you're going to stop when you get to that spot that you started cutting. And once again, now you have a notch. You see how it's at an angle here and then flat? Because if I had that same angle on another stick, I could turn it like this and hang them together. Make sense? Because this way, I mean, you can use it for hanging pots over a fire and stuff like that.
On my baby Glock stick, there's like this one little stub that we couldn't get off, so we just decided to use it to hang stuff on.
That's right.
Like maybe a lantern or something.
Alright, so what you're going to do, get your knife. I'll try to assist by holding this down a little more. Obviously, if you're used to being in the outdoors, you know, anything you're trying to cut and you're trying to hit it, if it vibrates and moves, it takes a lot longer, more effort to get it to go. So this one, just straight into you don't want to go at an angle, just straight up and down. Okay. Now get up on your knees.
Yeah, got that.
So, always be aware this is a possibility of them whacking their hands, but pain teaches, as they say. So you do it a couple times and eventually you'll learn your aiming technique's going to go a little better.
I'm scared.
Alright, hold on. Know what you're going to do?
That's what I have to do.
Okay, now come more towards where I am. Remember, you always got to position yourself around wherever it is that you're cutting. Now you're just smacking the side of the knife. You got to hit the spine. There you go. You're just smacking the blade again. Well, I mean, it's okay. I know it may be frustrating, but you got to pay attention to what it's hitting or you're not going to get the correct cut. Or you could break your knife depending on how hard you're hitting it. Which you obviously don't ever want to do. Alright, now put it straight up and down again. What's happening is as you're using it, you're doing like this. As long as it's straight up and down, it's going to cut straight into that wood. Now, if you have to get a good strong hammer grip on it, get a good strong hammer grip on it. Whatever you got to do to keep that thing from moving. And every time you hit it, you want to hit it right here on the spine. If it's at an angle, even if you have to move your whole body and sit in a different position, you only want to hit that spine. Because if you hit here, you're just twisting the knife and you're just not getting any work done. Hardly in there. Try different side of the stick. Let me clean this off a little bit for you.
Can't do it again.
Well, alright. Now, put your knife right there. Now, if you have to get more over this way, then get more over this way. That'll probably be more helpful for you. Like sitting right here on me.
I know. You said whichever way helps.
Yeah, but you need to hit this right here.
Yeah, I know.
So you're sitting like this. At a completely perpendicular angle. Or a parallel angle. There we go. That's good. So as you can kind of tell, one of the things about bushcraft and knife skills, a lot of it isn't intuitive, and it doesn't come really perfectly natural. So a lot of this stuff that when you work with your child, you're going to have to constantly teach them, coach them, point things out that they're doing. Now, move your body right here. See if this helps you more. Put it right here where my hand is. There we go. And put some whack that thing. It's okay. Do you want to take a break for a minute?
Yes.
Okay. We'll take a break for a minute, guys. We'll get right back to you. Just let her hands rest up for a minute, and we'll do the last knot. Okay, guys, we're back. If you notice, we moved the board. I was trying to save my parents' deck by, in case a knife blade missed or something like that, it wouldn't go into the boards. But the board is vibrating so much, it's making it very difficult to cut the wood. So I'm going to start over again with the knots that we were teaching her. I kind of reviewed where to stand and hold herself. Remember, you got to use your foot on the stick to keep it from moving. And you got to be up on your knees, up higher. Here we go. So now help. There we go. Alright, remember what I said about facing the knife? Put your body, move this part to right here. That's biting into the wood a lot faster now. Now you're gonna be right where I am. Put the knife at an angle. Hold on, let go. Thank you. You see where I'm sitting? This is where I want you to sit. You're gonna put this knife at an angle away from you like that.
But the blade is facing towards me.
But you're going to be hitting at it into the wood. You're not pulling the knife, you're only holding it right here. Then you're going to hit right here on the spot. You see where my foot is and how I'm sitting? On one knee raised. So you're going to keep moving yourself according to how you need to be in order best to cut. Hold it right here, at that angle, just like that. You're welcome. See how quickly that's sliding right into it now? Right here. This is your aiming point, I know it.
I know how you feel when you hit yourself with a hammer.
Yeah, that hurts. There we go. Stop, stop, stop. Okay, now you're going to hold it straight across right here where you first started. Stop trying to push it down. Let me help you place it. Right here. There you go. Okay. Now what you can do is you're just going to clean it up a little bit. So all you got to do is just, alright, I'll try that. What you can do is one hand here, get a good grip. Now use your other hand, hold on. Right up here, grab the back, the very back, not near the blade, and just pull real slowly towards you to clean that up a little bit. straight up and down and just wobble it back and forth. All right. You're cleaning up the bottom part. That part. Okay. Now scrape it a little bit more that way. So she's got all the wood out that she needs. Now she's just got to clean it up to make it more stable for hanging. Okay. See what you got here? And now you've got your hanging notch. So like I said, guys, this are not skills that just come quickly right off the bat. It comes with your child's strength, coordination, stuff like that. So in order for them to develop all of this, it takes practice. It's going to be some work for them, but in the end, it can help them tremendously when they're out camping, hiking, maybe one day in a survival situation. So what do you think, baby Glock?
I think the last one that we did, I'm not going to be using very much.
Why?
Hard. It's really hard. But my favorite one out of all of them, I think, was the first one that we did.
Putting the knife in the wood and pulling it across?
Yeah. And that's easier just because, like, I don't have to hold it the same way and worry about, like, my grip, like, holding on. I have to do this the whole time. I just have to worry about, like, why don't we have to worry about a lot of things instead of just holding it up here.
Okay, so as you hear this, she enjoys the very first one the most because it's the easiest. There's less for her to worry about, and that's 100% true. There's very little for her to have to do. She doesn't have to keep moving her body at different angles. She doesn't have to swing anything. Obviously, you see the importance of having gloves. She did hit her knuckles a few times. That's going to happen when you're learning new techniques. It's why we also keep a first aid kit. Like I have one in my bag because if they're using a knife, they will eventually get cut. It will happen. Anytime you use a knife, whether it's to eat or cut wood or do whatever, eventually you're going to get cut. So teaching them to minimize the risk as much as possible, but still doing the task in order to learn it is extremely important. So far, that's the end of the second installment. We are going to go to shelter building, fire building, some other outdoor tasks. So
my favorite's going to be the shelter building.
The shelter building? Yeah, that is pretty fun too. Alright guys, I hope this helps you in teaching your child the outdoor skills that they will need. And in the meantime, be prepared
and have fun.